Do you think we'll get to a point where Bitcoin is used as collateral for these mortgages? People may not be able to afford a house in terms of their fiat savings and fiat income, but they might be sat on a huge stack of Bitcoin. Do you think we'll get to a point where you can collateralize that Bitcoin, buy a house, and the rest of that is just not even part of the equation?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, that is one of the things we're doing at People's Reserve. So I know it's coming, and it's coming fast. I think it's going to become popularized as well. And I love to use the COVID example for this. Like if you went to a traditional lender and you posted Bitcoin as collateral right before COVID and price is at 10,000, price starts going down towards 5,000, you're getting margin calls. If you post a little extra margin to protect an extra 10, 20% or whatever, and you say, I'm going to sleep on this to make sure I don't know what I want to do. Well, overnight, it went from 5,000 to below 3,500 and you were liquidated because these lenders, they don't view Bitcoin as engineered money. They don't view Bitcoin as savings technology. They view it as a risk on tech stock that you borrow against on margin. And that's unacceptable because because of an unbeknownst liquidity event, you now lost the most important asset on your balance sheet. Bitcoiners really need to choose their counterparty wisely and understand where is the liquidity coming from, who's providing that liquidity. These people are happy to liquidate you because they just get the money back from the principal and they'll collect the interest and penalties. And liquidation is our biggest risk going into a financialized future of the Bitcoin asset class. So you want to operate within contracts that mitigate liquidation risk. And at People's Reserve, the way that we've done that is variable interest rates. If you were borrowing through that same scenario and the price is at 10,000 and starts going down towards 5,000, what we're so excited about is that you don't get a margin call. You just get a call that lets you know that your interest rate increased a little bit. And then it went down from 5,000 to 3,500, your interest rate increased. So for the next couple months, you pay a higher monthly payment based on a higher interest rate. But at no point in time were you at risk of being completely liquidated. And then as Bitcoin goes back to 10,000 just a couple months later, because everything's too big to fail, your interest rate is right back to where you started from. And when it goes to new all-time highs, your interest rate actually gets lower and lower over time, reducing the burden of the debt and reducing the amount of interest over the life of the loan. No Bitcoiner who's been a responsible saver of the most pristine form of collateral in the world should put their Bitcoin up for collateral to buy a home and then not be able to sleep at night in that home, or to put their Bitcoin up for collateral for their business and worry that the next day that all of their business revenues over the last 3 or 4 years could be lost because of some market event that they have no control over. To me, it's not a good value proposition. And that's what this financial revolution is about. It's not about using all the same old tools that have existed for hundreds of years. It's about innovating. It's about creating new tools that are powered by Bitcoin. That's why we call it Bitcoin-powered finance. When someone asks, should I borrow against my Bitcoin? The answer is yes and no. It's yes because you can unlock the purchasing power of your savings without giving up ownership. And right now, at the bottom of the S-curve, you'd be a fool to sell your Bitcoin at this point. But if you've been a responsible saver of Bitcoin for the past 5 years and you've experienced the 60% CAGR, that's a 10x. Like 60% CAGR over 5 years is 10x. So if you were saving $100,000 and it's now worth $1 million, you have outpaced your peers by pretty much 10x. It's been an unbelievable experience for those responsible savers. But now that you have $1 million worth of Bitcoin, how does it make your life better?
Yep.
So it's over collateralized. There is more equity. There's no promise required. If you borrowed the money and walk away and never come back, we don't care. We will just liquidate the portion of your Bitcoin to close the loan, and you come back and get the rest of your Bitcoin and take it back into self-custody. It's negative risk. The monetization is going to accelerate this understanding, and then the financialization is going to bring about these new revolutionary Bitcoin-powered financial products that will make Bitcoiners the risk-free borrower, and that will give Bitcoiners access to the cheapest cost of capital in the world because you are now the risk-free borrower. You hold the pristine collateral that is the foundation of the system. And that's why our Bitcoin-powered finance products focused flagship on the Bitcoin-powered mortgage, because the real estate industry is also a $300 trillion industry. And a lot of that industry is being taken over by institutions. So we need to empower the small guy with the financial tools that they need to leverage their responsible saving of Bitcoin. I'm not a fan of Janet Yellen, but she had at least one good quote during her career, which was, the most important source of wealth for the vast majority of Americans is in their home equity. And I think, that's another important Bitcoin powered finance product, our home equity Bitcoin line of credit. You need to transform your home equity into Bitcoin equity. You cannot outpace and grow your wealth if you're keeping your home equity in your home. And the real estate market in the United States alone is like $40 trillion. And upwards of 50% of that is owned outright. So we're talking about a $20 trillion liquidity pool, a $20 trillion pool of purchasing power that is going to exit home equity and enter Bitcoin equity. That's probably the next big wave, but that's not going to happen until people realize their home is worth less than Bitcoin and that Bitcoin is more important than their home.